Run free and dive into the sky. Hear the wind crying out its prayer. Why are we so ashamed to be alive? Break the chains and our freedom's ours to take. Look behind your back. Chase a light when the world is getting darker. I have a dream where love's the only side. So take my hand, join the army of the shadows. Going harder, we are more than numbers. Standing in the shade. Going louder, we
Welcome all, welcome one, welcome all, welcome everybody. Sorry for sounding a little congested, allergies, but welcome to another episode of the Sports Euphoria podcast. This is the preview of week 4 in the NFL, Sunday into Monday, and I am going to recap Thursday Night Football. So I will recap Thursday Night Football as well, and I'm going to drag him in a second by my cousin Connor, who co-hosted last time with me for an actual preview episode, I believe. So I'm going to just drag him up so we can hear him, and we're just going to go through preview of the games, and then I also have my bets up as well that I'm going to do live as per Barstool Sportsbook on 9/30, 2021. So with that, hola, ¿cómo está?
Muy bien.
Bien, bien.
What's going on?
Not too much. Just let everybody know what we're gonna be doing, previewing the games, and that I did not tell them that you also sound congested. I just told them that I also sound congested because I'm all nasally. I am all nasally, but I told them we're just same as the last time you happened to be the last episode I think you were on when we did a week 3 preview.
Yeah. No, it was a recap.
Was it a recap? I thought it was a preview. I'm going crazy.
Yeah, it was a recap.
My days are blurring together. What are you gonna do? All right. So with that, we'll just we'll recap Thursday Night Football. See the game last night?
I didn't get to catch much of it. I was very upset because I may have started Marvin Jones instead of James Robinson. So that was my biggest mistake of the week so far for fantasy football.
Okay. Well, you should have texted me like your brother did because I said start Tyler Boyd.
Yeah.
Just said. Well, it's all right. It could have probably just been like a did you forget kind of thing, or
I was expecting Cincinnati to do very well against Jacksonville. I was not expecting to be this close of a game, and I was expecting Jacksonville to throw the ball a lot more to Marvin Jones instead of running the ball. So That's why I went with
The
Marvin.
DJ Chark broken ankle could have definitely affected that. DJ Chark going
Could
out
have.
in the first series, I think, with a broken ankle.
He's out for the season.
Yeah, he's done for the year. So that's a little tough.
Yeah.
But yeah, so speaking of, your brother had reached out to me yesterday. I was at my father-in-law's house, Leanne's dad's house, and for those of you, Leanne is my wife. And we were watching a little bit of the game, but your brother texted me and he was like, what did he ask me? Tyler Boyd or Tyler Lockett?
Yeah, he was wondering. I told him I don't know if Lockett's injury is gonna affect him. I was like, so it's up to you. You just play you.
Yeah, I don't know if he made the switch in time because I know it was close.
No, he did start Tyler Boyd.
Okay, because I said
He
I
did.
said the same thing with the injury. I don't know with the knee and then the hip just recently.
Yeah,
I'm like, you're better off just going with Boyd. And it paid off. I think he had like 8 catches or 5 catches for 118 yards or something like that. Like I think if he plays in a PPR, I think it was a good game.
yeah.
For sure. I think it was a very beneficial game for him. So James Robinson did really well though. That was a shocker.
He
I wasn't
did.
really anticipating that to happen by any stretch of the imagination.
Trevor Lawrence didn't throw any interceptions this week.
Trevor Lawrence looked really good. There was a throw that he had to
Was it the toe tap?
Chenault. I think it was Chenault. Not that was Agnew. The toe tap by Agnew was really good.
Yeah.
I did see the toe tap by Agnew. That I thought was very good. Now this was by I think it was the catch by Laviska Chenault. I don't remember offhand though. I'm trying to think. I'm not 100% sure. I'm trying to pull up the. I don't know why this decided to just kind of like poo-poo on me. But I'm trying. Oh, Yankees are losing. NFL scores. Here it is. So week 4 scores, box score. Okay. So let's do this. Let's do this real quick. All right. So James Robinson had a very good game.
He did.
James Robinson, 18 carries, 78 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
Not the best yards per carry average, I'd say, but
Yeah, 4.3.
it was good.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't terrible.
Yeah, no, I mean he did
He put up 20
I'd say,
points in my league.
but
So yeah, 4.3.
yeah, it was it was a good game. And then Joe Mixon had a good game. I mean, not the greatest, but they were also playing from behind, so he wasn't going to be getting many touches. They're usually playing from a lead.
Yeah.
But he
I went up against Mixon and Jamar Chase this week. So
Chase didn't do too much. I mean, he got 6 for 77, but he didn't score a touchdown.
yeah, they both had the same points. So it was like 13.7 or something like that.
That's not too bad. So like 27 points for 2 people.
Yeah.
Depending on a player you have going, you can make that up real quick.
I also forgot to mention I started Cincinnati defense thinking that they were gonna blow out Jacksonville, so they got me a point.
Hey, Trevor Lawrence, each game he's gotten progressively better.
Yeah.
Each game he has gotten better. And I mean, they showed you that they're talented. Joe Burrow had a very good game, no interceptions, 2 touchdowns, 348 yards, threw the ball 32 times. He almost doubled his throws from last week. I think he had 18 or 19 last week.
Yeah.
But Joe Mixon did go down with an injury though. Like he was not on the game-winning drive. He was out. He hurt his ankle. I don't know what the specifications are on it because it is today and they're probably just doing more testing.
Yeah.
But Joe
I didn't
Mixon,
know anything about his injury.
yeah, he was not on the field and they said that they were like stretching him out or he was like walking around. Smeej P. Ryan was the running back for the last drive. And then Uzoma had a good game. Uzuma, 5 catches, 95 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He had as many catches as he did. He more than doubled his catches that he had for the whole season.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like one of those pop-off games.
Yeah, I just think it's a fact of like no T Higgins. They needed somebody
Yeah,
else. I don't think anything's going to become of it. I don't think there's any reason um, on Tuesday or Wednesday when I do my waiver wire episode, he's not going to be on there. I'll probably talk about it. I don't think it's worth it to go out and spend your fab if you have fab on him.
yeah,
Or waste a waiver claim for him. I just don't think it's worth it. There's other people out there. But speaking of tight ends, Dan Arnold, who just got there, 2 targets, 2 catches, 29 yards.
yeah,
With no Chark, that's something to look at. And I think Marvin Jones will have an increased role as well with no Chark.
yeah,
But Chenault might be the player to target now as well with no Chark. Excuse me, because they're just going to, it's the next guy up. And he's
yeah.
going to
It's
have to,
gonna be both of them.
he's going to have to step up. So he had 6 for 99. That was a pretty good game for him. I know a lot of people drafted him in PPR leagues because of the role he plays.
Yeah,
But yeah, Dan Arnold. Take a look at Dan Arnold if you have some room for him. Deeper leagues. What else? Trevor Lawrence did look good. No touchdown passes. Did have a rushing touchdown and rushed for 36 yards.
yeah.
So
I think he rushed for what, eight times? You right?
yeah, 8 times for 38 yards. Um, and that's really it from the game. I mean, no defenses really did anything. The kicker for the Bengals is a good kicker. Like if you can pick up McPherson, pick him up. If you're looking for somebody, he just he's got ice in his veins.
Yeah.
So I think it's 2 game-winning field goals he's had so far this season, and he's young. Um,
Is
so
he
that's
available?
for that game. Nothing too crazy. Again, I mean, it was a big game for Joe Burrow, but I don't think it's necessarily going to happen. They were down 14-0 at half, so he had to throw the ball, come out there, and they're trying to not
Yeah.
do that because they're still trying to get him to come back from that injury. But he did look good. He did look very good out there. What else do we have? That's pretty much it for the Jacksonville Cincinnati game. I didn't really have anybody going that night, last night, so I wasn't really too worried about it. But I was hoping that I got that information to your brother quick enough because I knew it was
Yeah.
close, and I'm like, oh no, you got to go Boyd because there's no Higgins, and it paid off, so I was glad about that. Next, real quick, we can go Panthers Cowboys.
That's be a good game, I think.
I think it'll be a good game. It'll definitely show us where the Panthers are. I think.
Definitely.
Sam Darnold's had a good season so far. I think if he can come out and show that he can play against a good defense or defense that's been improving,
Yeah.
it's going to show a lot of people a lot of things about him. So definitely be happy to see that if he can do some stuff.
Also interested about how I don't know how to pronounce it. Chuba.
Chuba Hubbard. I
Yeah.
think
See
it's
how he
Chuba
does.
Hubbard. I think it's Chuba and then Hubbard. So I think that
Yeah.
it's a long U sound for the first name, short U sound for the. Yeah, I mean, a couple years ago in college, he was a Heisman favorite a couple years back, and then I think he got hurt, and then it was the COVID season last year, so he kind of just fell. But he's supposed to be really
Yeah.
talented.
See how that I have him starting.
Yeah,
My
you should
RB2.
you should start him. I think it's going to be something that you should start. He just from a check down volume standpoint.
Yeah.
I know DJ Moore has been going crazy. I don't think he
Yeah.
goes crazy this week because he's playing against Trevon Diggs.
Yeah.
Trevon. Which I think it's Trevon Diggs, and he's been a shutdown corner so far. I think it's his second season. So far, he's done well. So I definitely don't expect DJ Moore to do as much. Sorry. But that's definitely something to look. I mean, he's been playing so well. It's almost like do you just start him if you have him? Like you were thinking he was going to do well, you probably drafted him to be like your number 1 or number 2 receiver. So
Yeah.
depending on how you drafted, I think you just have to keep playing him.
Yeah.
Especially with no McCaffrey. I don't know what that's going to mean for Hubbard out of the backfield. So I think, hopefully Robbie Anderson can do something.
Yeah. Not like another 1.8 week or something.
Yeah, my buddy just texted me. We have Christian Kirk in in the league. We have Robbie Anderson, but I think we're gonna try to go Kenny Galladay. I think. Not really 100% sure yet, but I'm on board with it. I think Kenny Galladay is going to have a better season overall than Robbie Anderson. So I'm like, you know what? I'm down for that. With all the injuries the Giants have, let's make that move. Um, but I mean, you're going to start. I don't think you're not starting Sam Darnold. I'd probably say he's not a top 12 quarterback this week. I mean, it could be a shootout, so he could put up some numbers, but I think there's plenty of other people I'd rather start over him. Um, I don't know how I feel about Dak, but like I'd probably start Derek Carr over him.
Yeah.
Um,
I think Dak's gonna have a good week. I mean, he's just been looking really, really good. So
he has, especially since the injury and everything like that.
yeah.
But it looks like they're looking to see if they can control the clock more. I think Zeke and Tony Pollard are definitely going to keep splitting. I mean, the fact that Zeke has 44 carries for, let's just say he has 199 yards, we'll say 200 yards, is
Mm-hmm.
crazy because Tony Pollard has 27 carries for 183. Like, you
Exactly.
have almost like
Yeah.
half the carries and just as many yards. Um, but, Pollard's a little bit younger, hasn't been used as much as Zeke over the years.
Yeah.
Um,
Zeke's losing his touch.
yeah, but I think, you start Zeke if you have him. You drafted him to
Yeah.
start him. If you
Obviously.
want to take a flyer on Pollard, you could put him in as a flex.
Like,
Like you said you think Dak will have a good week. I still probably start Derek Carr over him.
yeah.
Um, Tom Brady's a must. And you're starting Aaron Rodgers probably over Dak Prescott, just because especially how game flow went last week. Like they did give a lot of like touches to Zeke. Zeke get 2 touchdowns, so I think they might try to if they have to let him throw,
Yeah.
they'll have him throw. But if he doesn't have to throw, I don't think they're gonna want him to throw too much. It's a long season. That one extra game means a lot.
Yeah.
So what else? You're starting CeeDee Lamb and you're starting um,
Cooper.
Cooper, Amari, and if you need a flyer, you probably start Schultz. If you
Yeah.
need a tight end, because how they looked with no Michael Gallup, Schultz might be their new third pass catcher. And by the way, I did say Cedric Wilson would have, I think, on my waiver. I don't know, was it with you? I think I said he'd have 75 yards and a touchdown. He did
Yeah.
not
You
have
said that.
75 yards, but he did have a touchdown.
You said it with me.
He did have a touchdown. Just saying. Cedric Wilson did have a touchdown. Anyway, I do like Schultz. I was going to pick him up in one league, but I think I went with somebody else instead. A little bit more of a proven, because I just think that those receivers are going to end up being the top target getters, and if they try to take him away, then I think Schultz will come into play.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot to hit record on my podcast again, so I have to download it all over again from Twitch when I'm done. Fantastic, Dave.
I'm
Fantastic.
I'm seeing I'm looking at the news right now. It says Joe Mixon may have a high ankle sprain.
Okay, that could be. He could be out for a little while then. He could definitely be out for a little while with that.
Yeah.
McCaffrey had that, I think, last year, a couple years ago. You can miss some time. If it's a high ankle sprain, you can miss some time, especially as a running back or wide receiver.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We shall see what we have next. One of the cats is on my desk. If you see a cat running around live on stream, I apologize. What's next? Browns Vikings. Browns Vikings. If Dalvin Cook starts, you're playing Dalvin Cook.
If not, you play Madison.
Now you play Madison. They're both probably top 12 running backs.
When they play.
For sure. Either one of them. Apparently, Cook has less pain than he did last week, so he could play. He did talk to the media, I believe, today, or practice, which is typically, according to what I've been told, an indicator that you're going to be playing. You talk to the media, but you're starting the usual people here. Cook, Madison, either one of them, no questions asked. No other running backs to really start over them. If you have them, start them. Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, you're playing them.
Yeah, those two.
And that's
Kirk
really,
Cousins. Kirk
yeah,
Cousins.
you would start. So would you start Carr over Cousins?
Yeah.
You'd start Carr over Cousins. Would you start What about Cousins over Rodgers? Or would you go Rodgers?
Hold on. Who does Rodgers play?
Um,
Steelers.
Steelers
I take Rodgers.
with TJ Watt coming back. TJ Watt is playing.
I don't know then. Maybe I think I might go. I might go Kirk.
Okay,
It it all depends about how like that. It depends how that Steelers defense does. If they get off to Steelers defense gets off and they're like constantly putting pressure on Rodgers, then it's gonna be a rough game for him. But if not, I think Rodgers is just gonna have a fun time and ball out.
for sure. I mean, it always seems like he can ball out whenever, but at the same point, it feels like he's still, he's getting close to 40 because it's just like all these different people are playing so much better and more consistently than he is. They have better
Yeah,
offensive lines, just better weapons. And it's not to take anything away from MVS or Lazard or whatever the case may be, or Tunyon,
yeah.
but it's just Rodgers and Devontae, and you're just like,
The last dance.
yeah, So for the Browns, I mean, Odell looked so good. I think you just have to start him now.
Yeah, he did look really good.
I mean, he had 5 for 77, and there's still no Landry for at least 2 more weeks. So I think you're still going to start him. There's no questions asked. He just he looked good, and Minnesota's defense isn't terrible, but I think he'll still get his.
Mm. Uh,
And then
and then
Chubb and Hunt. Oh God,
yeah. No, I was gonna say the same thing.
yeah,
Chubb and Hunt.
you got to start Chubb. You got to start Hunt. Um, I still think Chubb is the play. As a starting back.
Yeah,
Um, but Hunt's just so talented that it's just kind of like split duties. I think we talked about that earlier in the week
yeah,
too. Like Maurice Jones-Drew, Fred Taylor, like certain they're just gonna each get their carries. They each get 10 touches. They can each rush for 100 yards. Like they're just that good. And they're a run first team. They're not a pass first team. They have how many rushing touchdowns do they have? 1, 2, 3, 8 rushing touchdowns compared to um 2 passing touchdowns for Baker. So they run the ball.
yeah.
They run the ball. Um, but yeah, there's nothing crazy here. I think you should just start Baker over Odell. I mean, you start. I'm trying to think, what other receivers could you have that you would start? Starting Odell over Allen Robinson. Starting Odell over Michael Pittman. I'd probably start Odell over Brandon Cooks as well. Who else? I think that might really be the only people I really think about starting Odell over. Would just be those guys. What do you think?
That yeah. I mean,
Would,
those are probably the main ones.
would you start Odell over Marquise Brown?
I probably would. I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna target. I mean, I know it was a week. They probably worked on it, but the drops from Marquise Brown just killed him.
Yeah, I know. We'll talk about that anyway. With that
Uh,
being said, I'm going to the next game. Screw that shit. That wasn't fun.
Detroit.
What is it? Detroit, Chicago.
Yeah.
Detroit, Chicago. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I mean, you're starting Hawkinson.
Swift.
You're starting
If
Swift.
I
I,
don't know. Swift has a groin injury, so
I mean, I still think you're starting him. I haven't heard
yeah. I
anything
think he's going to play.
crazy.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I think he did. I think he practiced today, so I think that is good.
but I think he's matchup proof now going forward. I think you start DeAndre Swift every week.
Yeah.
Jamal Williams is definitely flex, probably more in PPR or probably more in standard than PPR because I think DeAndre Swift just catches everything.
Yeah.
I mean, Jamal Williams has 14 targets on the season compared to DeAndre Swift's 23. So I mean, Jamal Williams does have 13 catches, so he can catch the ball. But they're not afraid to use Swift out of the backfield as a receiver anymore either.
Yeah.
Um, and then you're starting. That's really it. You're not starting Goff. Plenty of other people out there for him better. Um,
That's it from the Lions.
yeah,
Talking
the
to
receivers
West.
don't. Maybe a big game for Cephas. Maybe, but you're doing that in a DFS. Or if you're super deep league, 16 teams, 14 teams, kind of thing. What else do we have? The Bears not starting any quarterback.
Oh,
The only person I'd probably start if you because you depending on where you drafted him would be Allen Robinson. If so, Matt Nagy just said today that it's a game time decision. If Andy Dalton plays, I have more confidence in Allen Robinson.
I don't know.
Because he's just super talented. He's just I don't know why he just got off to a slow start. It's just
Yeah, I think
bad throws. I mean, he
he's
has
gonna
20.
be
He has
picked up.
21 targets, but just 10 catches. Like, dude, come
Yeah.
on. If he was on any other team, he'd be a bona fide stud. He is a really good player. He was on Jacksonville when he got drafted, and then he went to Chicago. Like the poor guy.
Yeah.
Like, but I think too. You start Montgomery. There's nobody else
Uh,
really. He's like the
yeah.
bell cow. Just his production hasn't been good, but he'll get you the volume. And you just kind of hope that maybe the offense has some stuff better tailored for Fields and Montgomery. Maybe some RPOs, run pass options that can maybe give some better looks to Montgomery if Fields keeps it, or you have to respect Fields keeping it. But at the same point, the Lions shut down the Ravens rushing attack. So I don't really know how I feel about that. I think you're definitely starting Hubbard over Montgomery.
Yeah.
You're starting Saquon over Montgomery.
Uh-huh.
You're starting Swift over Montgomery.
Yeah.
You're starting who else? Oh God, who
Uh,
else? Who else are you starting over Montgomery? I would probably, if he starts, I would start Peyton Barber over David Montgomery. If Barber is if Josh Jacobs is benched again, like doesn't play because he's hurt, I would start Peyton Barber
yeah.
again
Barber looks really good.
over Montgomery. Um, I mean, probably either one of the Broncos running backs over Montgomery. Like maybe not though.
Maybe that's like a toss up.
Would you start Mike Davis over Montgomery, or would you start Montgomery?
I'd probably just start Montgomery. Uh, that's tough.
It is a little tough. That it is, but that's really. I mean, I think that's really it though. That's all I really start on that team.
There's not a lot of starts from that matchup right there.
No,
Of starts from that matchup right there.
not at all. But there's nothing. I mean, I'm not crazy about the game. Maybe if you want to, you could start the Lions defense because they're playing the Bears. Maybe the Bears have another bad game. Like the
Yeah.
Lions probably get their first win this week. I'm gonna be honest with you. They probably get their first win.
Uh-huh. Yeah, probably.
Texans Bills.
That's just gonna be a blowout.
You could probably start every Bills player and you probably still do well.
Everyone. Start the whole Bills lineup if you have to.
Do you like Odell over Cole Beasley or Emmanuel Sanders? Who would you start?
Uh,
Who would you start Cole Beasley and Emmanuel Sanders over? Michael Pittman?
I would start him over Pittman.
Okay.
Uh, I mean, going into the week, probably over Marvin Jones if just because of that. And then, but who else do we have? Like, um, what other receivers are there?
Would you start any of the Bills? By any of the Bills, I mean Sanders or Beasley. Would you start Devonta Smith over them or them over Devonta Smith?
I have a feeling Devonta Smith has a huge game this week.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
I don't like. I mean, the Chiefs secondary is not the strongest, as we
Yeah, no,
know.
that's their weakest
So
point. Yeah,
I think Devonta Smith has a great game.
I could agree
No,
with
not
that.
against Devonta Smith.
I could agree with that. All right, so I mean, the
Um,
only Texans I'm really starting is Brandon Cooks.
yeah.
That's really it. Start the Bills defense. It's like, I
Uh-huh.
mean, you could probably start there. Josh Allen is going to have only like 5 total touchdowns this game. I think it's going to be a blowout. The spread's 16.5 points. It's not going to be pretty. Well, that was a quick game.
That was
Another
very
game
quick.
that I don't really want to touch is going to be the Colts and Dolphins. I mean,
A weird game.
I'm hoping Jonathan Taylor can get off the schneid and do something this week
Mhm.
because I took him in one of my leagues and I took him high, and he has not performed like where he should have been drafted, and it
Yeah, I
hurts
mean,
me.
yeah, if you drafted him, it's your season. I mean, you've definitely not been undefeated.
I mean, no, not at all. I'm either 0-3 or 2-1 or 1-2 in that league, I think, or 2-1, 1-2. I don't remember.
Yeah.
It's been so hard for fantasy at times this year. Like
There's just been
I
a lot of times where players just don't score the way that they're supposed to.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was the Wednesday, my waiver wire, my dynasty league. Was this was I with you with this? Or was it I think I was solo for my waiver wire episode. Um in the dynasty league I'm in, I have 560 points against.
Yeah.
560 points. It's been 3 weeks. I almost got 200 points dropped on me on a weekly basis. I'm like 6th in the league in scoring by like I should be 5th out of 12, but the one guy above me has like point 0.6 points higher.
Yeah.
So I'm in the top half of the league in points for, and I have 560 points against.
That's what happened with me my 1 year. I just went against everybody that just kept dropping 150 plus every week, and I was
Like,
just like,
I'm not I'm not trying to play to win this year, but my team's kind of decent. It's a super flex. I got Daniel Jones, I got Jalen Hurts, young, unproven quarterbacks. I got Saquon, I got Chase Ed. I mean, I got a bunch of people on IR. I'm not looking to go out there and win this year. I got that. I understand that. I have Marquise Brown, Rashad Bateman, Devonta Smith, DK Metcalf. I mean, like I'm loaded for if my players end up doing what they're supposed to be doing, I can win this league for the next like 5 years. Um, but it's still frustrating. Like I hate losing in anything. Have it be fantasy, have it be, the Giants, have it be anything. I just don't like when they lose, or I don't like when I lose. Um, But that's one thing the Bills aren't going to do. The Bills aren't going to lose, and I don't think.
the Bills lose.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
gonna be the biggest upset of the year.
Yeah, I
So
know. I know. Next, if the Patriots win, but yeah. So Colts Dolphins, just really Jonathan Taylor, and as a flex, Michael Pittman. But we had gone over
yeah,
a couple names that I probably start Brandon Cooks over Michael Pittman. Um, it depends on how healthy Wentz is. He's coming off of the double ankle sprains, so he's still, those are probably going to be lingering still. Um, but yeah, the Dolphins. I mean, if you have to start Miles Gaskin, start
you
him.
start
But
them, but I mean,
I mean, like, look, dude, start Jamal. I start Jamal Williams over Miles Gaskin.
yeah,
Like, I'll start Zach Moss over Miles. Like, at this point from the Bills, like, I'm starting, Tony Pollard over Miles Gaskin. Obviously Kareem Hunt. Those guys for sure. It's just not good for Miles Gaskin. Um, but I think that's and there's not many tight ends, and if you don't want to play the hot tight end, or if the hot tight ends got picked up, you could start Gesicki against the Colts for the Dolphins. Maybe he had a big game last week, and I know Brissett might see that and like that and go to him more. So that could be an option. Do you have any other thoughts on that though, or
You covered it pretty much.
all right, what are your thoughts about Chiefs Eagles?
Uh, like I said, Devonta Smith, I think he's gonna have a great game, but I think Chiefs are not losing 3 in a row. Or yeah, Chiefs are not. There's no way, right? They don't go back to back to back losses.
I don't know, man. It's the Chiefs, so at the same point, like
Yeah,
I mean, the Eagles going to be able to put up points. Their defense is not good. Chiefs defense is
yeah.
not good.
It's gonna be
Um,
a very high scoring game. I think it comes down to how like the defenses play that game. If
yeah, I mean, a lot of the past two teams have taken Tyreek Hill out of the game. Travis Kelsey's been
yeah,
going off. So if the Eagles take Tyreek Hill out and make other people beat them, then anything's possible.
it's gonna be very.
Because
Be
Tyreek's only big game, I think, was week one.
Yeah, he had what? Like he had a big game. He had a
It,
really big game,
yeah,
didn't
he had over 100 yards, and I think he had at least one touchdown, but I think he had two. Um, but this is why I even have to say anything. You're starting Mahomes.
he? Mahomes,
Um,
Kelsey.
do you
Um,
start Kareem Hunt over CEH?
yeah,
Okay.
I don't like CH. I'm not a big fan.
I took him early one year because everybody was talking about him. I didn't do much research last year, and everybody's like, "Oh, CEH, CEH, CEH."
Yeah,
Hill had one touchdown, by the way, on week one. I mean, I even even though they're probably the same player, I think Miles Sanders has a very big game this week, and I think this is where he kind of like earns his keep.
yeah. Philly just doesn't include him into their offense.
He had
Like
two
how?
carries for like what
Like he had.
40 something yards last
I,
week.
I think he had a carry for like 20 yards, and then they just didn't run the ball for like until like the fourth quarter.
Like what?
I don't understand why they're not.
I don't like it. But Hurts is their leading rusher. I mean, he's averaging over 5 yards a carry though. Like Miles Sanders
Yeah,
is 30 carries for 156 yards.
yeah,
Um, I like Devonta Smith here. We talked about that earlier. He has 21 targets and 11 catches. He did have some bad throws last week, which hurt those
yeah,
numbers. The one obviously where it falls down, it's pick six. Um, Goddard, I believe there's something up with him.
yeah. I mean, I'm not a really big fan of Philly tight ends. I don't know what's up, but
It
I've
used to
never
be a
been
couple
to
of
the.
years ago. It was like the Zach Ertz show. It was like you take Zach
Yeah,
Ertz, he's gonna get you like 90
it was like
yards and
yeah,
like
it
a
was like
touchdown
Travis
every week.
Kelsey.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
was. You were gonna get. You were at least gonna get a touchdown, at least. And
yeah,
if you did get a touchdown, you at least got 100 yards.
yeah,
Um, you could like they like Ertz. They just tried to move him. They couldn't. It's not they don't like him. They just have Goddard and Ertz. They were trying to move the older guy, keep the younger guy. Um, Sanders gets catches. He has 8 catches for 71, so he's multifaceted.
yeah.
Um, but I
I
mean,
think Philly just gotta include Miles Sanders in more of their offense.
yeah, I mean the only people I'm really starting here for the Eagles are Hurts if you're streaming quarterbacks, or
Yeah,
you're playing DFS, or you're high in upside. Like you just think that like I don't know, you draft Ben Roethlisberger on the simple fact that you think he's going to do something, and then you're like, oh, okay, fine, I'll take Hurts. Like I'm starting Jalen Hurts. Their
yeah,
Kansas City Chiefs defense is terrible, and Hurts is not a bad quarterback. He still only played like between 6 to 8 games in his professional career. Like he's still considered a rookie technically. Like they played Wentz a lot last year. He came on at the end of the season. Um, but Jalen Hurts has 6 total touchdowns in 3 games. It's 2 touchdowns a game. He's fantasy relevant, and like we said, the Chiefs defense is terrible. But
you're definitely not starting either defense.
no, no, and like we said, if you have the option to not start CEH, I would not start CEH. I would go with Hill because you just have to play the odds that Hill's going to have one of his games. Mahomes,
Yeah,
Kelsey. Look, I would take a look at Machole Hardman. Um,
yeah,
he's kind of been that third guy. He has 11 catches on 15 targets. He's the third most targeted receiver on the team. he's gonna have to step up. If Hill can't get in, he's gonna have to play and step up and do something. And I think he's just that guy. I don't think there's really anybody else on the team. Um, I mean, Pringle, it's kind of just like if he's open, Mahomes hits him and he ends up taking it for a touchdown. Flex Machole Hardman if you're weak at receiver. If your receivers just haven't been playing well, if you took maybe a Marquez Callaway as a flyer and you were you went a lot of running backs for some random reason because that was very slim picking. But I'm not happy about McCole Hardman.
Yeah.
But what else? Do you have anything else, or you're good on this game?
Good in that game. Just no defense.
Yeah,
Don't start any defenses, and Patrick Mahomes. Hopefully, he has a good game. I need him to.
yeah, I'm sure he'll have a good game. Just don't throw any interceptions. All right, we're gonna start with my team, and then we're gonna follow up my bad game with your bad game. So,
Uh-huh.
Giants Saints. Whichever Saints team decides to show up is dependent on how your Giant player is gonna do. If it's the Saints from week 2, then I'd start
That's
you. Well, first of all, you're starting Saquon. It was good to see him back. I think you're just starting him because just from
yeah.
a volume standpoint, he's going to get his touches. He's going to get the receptions if they check down because the offensive line can't block anybody. And he's going to get his rushes. You're starting Saquon. I don't.
I think that's the only person on the Giants, and maybe Daniel Jones.
I mean, maybe, but it still is just very like he's had a
Yeah.
good season. He just doesn't score the touchdowns unless he's
Yeah.
running.
Um,
Um,
that's the only
but
other people on the Giants.
you could probably. With the injuries, and I think if the Saints are going to end up actually putting points up, I could see you starting a Kenny Galladay.
Yeah.
If you're in deeper leagues, the kid Colin Johnson, the kid who's 6'6", he had to get like 50 yards and some nice catches last week when everybody went down with injuries. Sterling Shepard and Darius Slayton. I like Kadarius Toney, not to start, but I think this is his breakout game. I think he does something here.
I mean,
I
I have
could,
more yards than the guy,
yeah, I know.
so
I know. It's just my take. You took him in the first round. You should use him.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm not really starting anybody but guaranteed Saquon.
Saquon's a definite.
Kenny Galladay. If you
Mm.
need somebody, like I said, there's still plenty of other people I'd like to start over Kenny Galladay. I'd probably start Devonta Smith over Kenny Galladay if you can. Um,
Would you start Pittman over Galladay?
I would just because he's super fragile and he's still probably playing with that injury.
Yeah.
I think you just go Pittman. But the thing with Pittman that scares me against the Dolphins is they have 2 shutdown cornerbacks.
Yeah. That's
So it's like which
the
Wentz is going to show up? The MVP Wentz before he tore his ACL and went down, or is it going to be the guy who hasn't been able to figure out how to play quarterback in the NFL ever since his ACL injury?
yeah.
It's very hard. But yeah, I'd start Cooks over Galladay. I'd probably start Emmanuel Sanders over Kenny Galladay if I have him. Obviously Odell over Galladay, but I start Galladay over Robinson. I definitely think I start Galladay over Allen Robinson.
Yeah, Robinson, it's just not looking good with this QB being Justin Fields. I feel
Yeah,
way more confident with Andy Dalton.
it makes me you and probably Allen Robinson. Um, Alrighty. So I think that's probably. I mean, maybe start the Saints. I wouldn't even start the Saints defense because I mean, maybe from a point perspective, from not giving up points, but the Giants are going to get yards on them, and then definitely kick
Yeah.
field goals with Graham Gano. He's got like 39 field goals in a row.
Yeah.
All right. So now we can go to the Derrick Henry breaking the single game rushing record game.
Yeah, because both of the two of the wide receivers are out. AJ Brown and Julio are both missing. I
Yeah, but
mean, it's basically a bye week, so it
yeah, I
doesn't
was
really
gonna say they're
matter.
not playing them because it's just like, dude, we're playing the Jets. Let's be real.
Yeah.
I think Westbrook from the Titans probably does well. Expect the Titans tight ends to have big games. I think Tannehill does use them.
Yeah, I
But
think
honestly,
he's one.
I'm interested to. I think, and I said this on I was filling in another podcast on Tuesday. I think this is the game Zach Wilson throws for like 300 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Really?
The Titans' defense is not good.
I feel like the Jets always play good against the Titans too.
I, I,
So
I think Corey Davis is a revenge game for Corey Davis. So I think Corey Davis is a big day, but I think this is the game that Zach Wilson at least throws for 250 and 3 touchdowns.
all right. Hopefully.
That's my bold
Um,
prediction, my hot take, this is the game. Zach Wilson just, balls. But other than that,
um,
dude, I mean, would you start Jalen Hurts over Ryan Tannehill?
no.
Start Tannehill over Hurts.
The
Okay.
only reason it's just the Jets. I mean,
Okay.
I
Okay.
that's the only reason.
So would you start Sam Darnold over Ryan Tannehill?
I think they're going to be very similar this week. I think you could go either or.
Okay.
I just think Tannehill's. I mean, you're playing the Jets, so
Okay.
I don't know. I think Sam Darnold's gonna have a good week too. So I would probably take Sam Darnold over that, just the way he's been playing.
Oh,
So
okay. All right. Just to try to get anybody who's listening if they have, you know, quarterbacks like that for
um
some reason,
yeah.
and you're trying to figure out where you're streaming quarterbacks.
What other quarterbacks would there be? Um, let's see.
I'm starting Ryan Tannehill over Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Do you start Kirk Cousins over Ryan Tannehill?
Uh, yeah. I would start Kirk over him.
Okay. All right.
I
But
mean,
yeah,
it's just hard. I mean, it is very hard to not start Tannehill when he's playing the Jets.
I know,
That's the
I know.
only.
I just have a weird feeling Derrick Henry is just going to have like 18
Yeah.
99-yard touchdown runs. I just think it's going to be crazy.
Mm,
And I think if you have to start a receiver, you're starting Westbrook. But other than that, it's probably just Tannehill and Henry. And then, like I
yeah.
said, for my sleeper picks, I just think this is the game that Zach Wilson's like, all right, guys, I'm here. It's like I
Hmm.
can do this. This is it. We're good to go. But we'll see. But I do
Yeah.
like Corey Davis
Hopefully.
as a sleeper pick for like a flex. I think he may have a good game. Somebody's got to catch it, and they're not using Denzel Mims or Elijah Moore. Like, why would you use top draft
Yeah.
picks? I don't know. It's bad as the Giants. Anyway, oh my God, so many bad games this week.
There's a lot
Sheesh.
of bad games.
Washington,
Atlanta
Atlanta.
won. Who do you think
Like,
takes this one?
I think Washington, just because they're more talented. Like,
Yeah. I'm
I,
hoping Pitt scores his first touchdown.
I yeah, it'd be nice. I'm gonna be starting him. I'm starting Pitts over Gasecki. In one league. Eh, If
I
you're
mean,
wondering why I have both Pitts and Gasecki, it's the dynasty league, so I went with young tight ends. Hopefully, the next Travis Kelsey's one of them at least. But I think I'm starting Logan Thomas here. I'm
yeah.
You're gonna start Pitts because of the simple fact of it's like, okay, I don't want him to have his big game on my bench, like, and
Hmm.
if you're like 1-3 after this week or you're 0-4, you're gonna stop playing Pitts. But if you're like 2-1 or 2-2, you can kind of hold off for a little bit.
Yeah.
But starting Antonio Gibson, obviously he is a little banged up. I believe he has a shin injury, but he should be okay. He should be good to go.
He had
Um,
limited practice today.
yeah, and it's just he's their top back. I think it'd just be precautionary. Um,
And if Gibson doesn't play, that I think Jake McKissick
McKissick,
is definitely a great start.
yeah,
Just like as a flex or something. Because when McKissick played, forget what game it was. He went off in the one
yeah,
game.
it's Giants.
Yeah.
Mhm. But all right, so are you starting? And the Saints, by the way, I'm just starting Alvin Kamara. That's it. I
Yeah.
meant to say that. Nobody else.
That is it.
Um, are you starting Mike Davis over Miles Sanders?
Mm, No, I'm starting Miles Sanders, I think.
Okay. Are you starting the Broncos running backs over Mike Davis?
Um, hold on. I think I'm gonna start Mike Davis in that
Okay.
one.
Okay. So we kind of have
Just,
an idea where Mike Davis or CEH. Not from a I
uh,
don't like CEH standpoint. From a who would you play, Mike Davis or CEH? Because I don't like CEH either, but
nah, I don't like
I
CH.
might I might personally just start Mike Davis because he's just there for volume, like he's gonna get his touches.
Yeah, he would definitely get his touches, and then you don't know about Philly, Kansas City. That's just gonna be a
Yeah.
game flow game. It's not gonna be like a full on just running. Probably even more pass heavy. If what I'm looking at it right now,
Gotcha. But
just the way both teams play.
all right. So we kind of have that there. Um are you starting Mike Davis over David Montgomery? Did we say that? Did I say that?
Yeah, I'm starting Mike Davis over
So Mike Davis,
Monty.
okay. All right, so Washington football, Logan Thomas, Terry McLaurin. You're playing Terry McLaurin because he should have
Yeah,
a big game because Giants. He's actually a good receiver. Giants don't know how to run routes against Atlanta. And then I'm starting Calvin Ridley, and I'm starting Pitts because it's got to be this game.
it's gotta be
It's
at least.
it,
It's gotta
it,
be
it's
one. Yeah,
it's got to
come
be.
on, please.
I'm just gonna take the risk. The tight end. I'm just gonna take the risk. Um, but yeah, Calvin Ridley is PPR in PPR leagues, obviously, even in non-PPR leagues, I'm just taking him because he's just going to get catches and yards or just yards in general. Hopefully, he gets a touchdown.
Yeah, he's definitely getting targets. So, um,
All right, next I'm going to go Rams Cardinals.
it's gonna be a very good game.
Yeah, it should be. I think the Rams end up taking it the actual game. Um, are you so obviously you're going to start um Stafford, Cup,
Both quarterbacks.
both
Both
quarterbacks. Are
Cup.
you starting Sony Michelle if Darrell Henderson doesn't play?
Uh, it depends who you're. It's like depends who your other running backs are. I mean, if you have Chuba
Okay.
over
What about
Sony
Mike?
Michel.
What about Mike Davis?
I'm starting Mike Davis too
Mike
over.
Davis over. Okay. Okay. What about David Montgomery or Sony Michelle?
Uh, I'm probably take Montgomery.
Okay. All right. And then,
Um,
are you starting Higby? If you have Higby on your team, you're starting him.
yeah, probably.
What about
I
Desean
mean,
Jackson? You think he gets another?
I would not start Deshaun Jackson. I mean, unless you like absolutely have to.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, I just think Deshaun Jackson's gonna be like one of those games where like he's either gonna go off or he's not gonna go off. It's gonna be there's no in between.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
hear
think
you.
he's gonna be very consistent this year.
Um.
Mm,
No, I agree with you. What about you're starting DeAndre Hopkins? Are you starting DeAndre Hopkins injury or no? Like if they come out and say he's still injured from last week, you're just playing him because he's DeAndre Hopkins?
You have to play him.
Okay.
I mean, it's DeAndre. He's gonna get targets no matter what.
What about? I'm not a big Max Williams guy. I just don't think Max Williams is gonna keep it up. I'm not even gonna entertain Max Williams. I'm starting Kyle Pitts over Max Williams. Like that's kind of where I am with that right now. Like I just don't
Yeah.
not starting Max Williams. Mike Davis
Uh,
or Chase Edmonds?
uh, uh
It's a tough one.
it's very tough because I mean Chase Edmonds is a very weird player. I feel like.
He's literally like he reminds me. He's just there to catch the ball. Like they don't run the
Yeah.
ball really unless it's like on the 1 yard line, and it's just like they just put him in the backfield.
Yeah. Um, I'm gonna go Chase Edmonds. I, f-
Okay, me too. Me too.
I mean,
Um,
I just think there's more of like an upside to Edmonds than Mike Davis.
no, for sure. Um, and then what else? I mean, if you're deep in receiver, you need a receiver to play. I'm okay with starting anybody but Rondell Moore. Like if you need to start Christian Kirk, And AJ Green, I think AJ Green has 200-yard games now. He's shown you he can still play. And Christian Kirk is just going to be that slot guy. The only thing that scares me about Christian Kirk is Jalen Ramsey could play the slot, but he may also try to follow around those other two stud receivers that they have. So
I think Christian Kirk is going to be a good player this week.
I think so too. I just think it's going to be another shootout, like the Bucks and the Rams.
Yeah.
Like I just think it's just going to be a high scoring affair either way. But the Rams defense is just good, so I can see the Cardinals like putting up very little. Yeah, I could definitely see the Cardinals struggling. Especially because Aaron Donald's like twice the size of Kyler.
Yeah.
But so you said you would start Higbee if you have him. You're starting Higbee over.
I would start Higbee.
You start Higbee over Pitts.
No.
You start Pitts over Higbee.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pitts gonna get a good touchdown.
Higbee or Logan Thomas.
I don't know. Logan Thomas gets I feel like a lot of receptions.
Okay.
I'm just gonna. The only reason I said Pitts is because I want him to score a touchdown. But I would probably start if I was a smart fantasy owner and I had both on my team. I would start Higbee.
Okay. All right. That's the answer I was looking for. That's the answer I was looking for. All right.
If I was a smart fantasy owner and I had both on my team, I would start Higbee.
For sure. All right. That's the answer we're looking for here. Pick with your head, not with your heart. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm not starting any defense. This is a good game, but it's a hard game. Seattle, San Fran. If Elijah Mitchell does not play, do you trust Trey Sermon?
I mean, Seattle's let up a lot of rushing yards, right?
Yeah.
I think you got to go with Sermon just because of the way Seattle's played against the run.
Okay. If Mitchell plays, do you start either back? Either Mitchell or Sermon?
I think you have to start either back.
Okay.
As an not RB1, definitely not RB1.
Okay, no, for sure.
RB2.
Lockett, I
Maybe
think
even flex.
Okay, I can see that. Are you starting Ayuk or Deebo Samuel?
I'm gonna go. I think Deebo. Ayuk's gonna be a. I think it's gonna be touchdown dependent. Ayuk.
Okay.
This game.
Okay. I'm interested to see if Kittle plays. I think if Kittle doesn't play, that could really determine a lot because he apparently had some calf issues leaving the game last week, and I thought it was going to get better, but I don't think it's gotten any better. What do you think Tyler Lockett is worth starting? I know we talked about it to start the show with your brother. We started Tyler Boyd over Lockett, but he went from a knee injury to a hip injury.
I
if
think
he plays, do you play him?
If he plays, I think you play him just because there's I think both receivers of the Seahawks are going to have a good week. I mean, definitely DK, and then if Lockett plays, I think Lockett have a good week as well.
Okay.
I think I think they're both going to have a lot of yards. So, I think unless that's all depending on if Russell Wilson spreads the ball, because I know once Wilson finds a receiver, the one game he just stick to that one receiver. He doesn't spread the ball.
DK last week before that was Lockett. Sneaky pickup if you're streaming tight ends. Will Dissly, Gerald Everett is out with COVID, so he has rapport with Will Dissly, and Will Dissly tends to in the red zone or stuff when in the red zone area, especially 15 yards and closer, he does usually look for Dissly. So if you have no tight ends or you're fed up with Kyle Pitts and you're like, I'm picking up a tight end, I'm not dropping Pitts, but I need to find somebody to start, Will Dissly is somebody you could take a risk on. But nothing else really stands out. You're probably going to start Russ, Chris Carson, you're starting, DK, you're starting, the usual people. I do like Ayuk a lot this game, though. I do think that if you drafted Ayuk, I think he finally showed you he can play last week, and I think he'll be able to play again this week. And I think that's going to hurt Samuel's numbers. So I think Samuel's numbers are going to go down. So if you have Samuel and you could pull out a move before Sunday to trade him to somebody who's weak at receiver, try to do that because I think he's going to lose some targets. I think he's going to lose some targets. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. I mean, Samuel does have 20 targets.
Yeah.
30 targets. Ayuk has 8 already in one game. Well, I think he had 7, I think, last game. Broncos Ravens. Are you starting Tyson Williams?
Ooh. I think you do.
Okay.
What do you think?
I don't know, man. I really don't know. I thought last week he was going to do something. I told somebody to play him, and he got like 2 points. It's like he's still young. He was a backup in college. Like he's very like, you could say very Tom Brady-esque. Like Tom Brady was a backup till his senior year. Like Tyson didn't play at all. Like didn't start at all though. But he's talented. He's quick. But I mean, they just trust Freeman and Latavius Murray more. Like I don't know. And they're playing in Mile High, so I don't think he's ever played in Mile High before. And that altitude really affects people.
Yeah.
I stay away from him. I stay away from Tyson.
Yeah, I think not this week. Not this week.
Like I'm starting Gordon and Javonte Williams over Tyson. I'm starting Gordon.
Also, it's because you're playing Denver D.
Yep. But I would
Yeah,
start. I'd
no
probably
Tyson.
start Gordon and Javonte Williams over Chase Edmonds if I have them.
Yeah.
For
Lamar Jackson has a back issue.
Yeah, I think he'll be all right though. I think it might just be something lingering. He may have coughed weird or sneezed.
So in my league and my team, I have Tyler Lockett and I also have Tim Patrick on my bench. So I mean, if Tyler Lockett is a game time decision and he does not play, that's who I'm going with. I'm going to go with Patrick.
Okay. So do you go Marquise Brown or Tyler Lockett?
Lockett.
Okay. You're starting Mark Andrews. Do you go Cortland Sutton or Tyler Lockett?
I think you go Sutton.
Okay. Do you start Teddy Bridgewater at all?
No.
Okay. You're obviously starting Lamar Jackson. I'm trying to think. Christian Kirk or Sammy Watkins?
I think you go Christian Kirk.
Okay. Marquise Brown or Robert Woods?
Marquise Brown.
So you go Sutton over Woods?
Yeah.
You go Lockett over Woods?
Lockett's just a tough player to know if you want to.
It's like this depends. If he catches that one pass and just takes to the house, it's
Yeah.
like he just got 80 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go Lockett over Woods.
Okay. All right, and then we got a couple games left. We'll finish up real quick. Steelers Packers.
Packers are blowing them out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm only starting Najee Harris, and I'm only starting Chase Claypool
if you have to, you start Claypool.
If
the big if
Deontay Johnson and Juju do not play. The only way I'm starting Chase Claypool is if both Juju and Deontay Johnson both play.
Both don't play.
If they do play, if they don't play, that's the only time I'm starting Claypool. I'm sorry, you were right. If they do play, I'm not starting Claypool. It scares me because he only got the targets and the numbers because both Juju and Deontay Johnson weren't there last week.
Mm-hmm.
However, expect Najee Harris to probably just get the catches again because Ben Roethlisberger is going to fall down like a tree. And then the usual, I don't trust Robert Tunyon, but you're starting Rogers,
The last
Jones.
chance. Yeah.
Yeah, Rogers, Jones, and Adams. You're just starting those guys. Could even probably start the Packers defense because Ben just looks atrocious. If you're looking,
Yeah.
if you stream defenses, the Packers are somebody to look at. They've been playing better each week. Well, really ever since week 1. And
Ooh.
then let's go to hello from the other side.
Mm-hmm.
So you're starting Brady. If
Brady, yes.
Gronk is apparently doubtful, I think he'll play though. And if he
Really?
plays, he'll get a touchdown.
Yeah, if he plays, you start Gronk. If not,
But
uh,
other than that,
you're gonna focus on the wide receivers.
all 3 of them, Brown, Evans, and Godwin, and I'm not touching a running back.
Yeah.
The only player I am starting for the Patriots is Jacoby Myers.
Yeah.
James White's out for the season. You could in deeper go Kendrick Bourne. I think he might be able to do something for you now that James White's not there. But Jacoby Myers, if you're playing in a PPR league, Jacoby Myers is your guy. However, because you know damn well he ain't going to score. The guy's got 102 catches and no touchdown receptions.
What about Damian Harris?
No, I'm not. I don't. Nope. Not against their.
No.
I don't. Nope. I'm only starting Myers, and if I've been very unfortunate, I'm starting Bourne.
Uh-huh.
Like I'm starting Myers over Claypool. I'm starting Myers over Sutton. I'm starting Myers over Kirk. I'm starting Myers over Woods. I'm starting Myers over. I'm just starting Myers.
Lockett? Lockett?
If the injury is more serious, like if this hip injury is a bad thing and it comes down to him being a game time decision, I'm probably still going to go Myers over Lockett because I don't. If he falls the wrong way on a tackle, he's done. He could catch a 3-yard pass and be done.
Yeah.
So I'd probably, if he's game time, I go Myers. If they come out on Saturday and they're like he's playing, I'd feel better about it. And that's Lockett I'm referring to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you could probably start the Bucs defense, but I still think the Patriots are going to end up scoring some points. I really do.
Yeah.
But it's just going to be Brady's just going to. It's just not going to be pretty.
Mhm.
I also would not be surprised if somehow, some way, the Patriots win. I'm just throwing it out there
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I wouldn't
because
put that
Belichick knows all of Brady's tendencies. He's going to have to take somebody like he's going to have to throw a wrinkle because they have both Antonio Brown and Mike Evans. But I don't know. We'll figure it. I'm just saying I doubt it's going to happen. But if it does, I would not be surprised. Is all I'm saying. We have 2 good nighttime football games this week.
There's the 2 last games are very good games.
The Chargers Raiders.
Uh-huh.
I think the Chargers win the game. You're starting Austin Eckler. You're starting Justin Herbert. You're starting Mike Williams, and you're starting Keenan Allen.
Yeah. What about from Raiders? You start
Peyton Barber if he's there. If Josh Jacobs sits, I'm starting Peyton Barber.
Okay.
I'm starting Peyton Barber. I think over David Montgomery. I'm starting Peyton Barber over both Broncos running backs. I'm starting Peyton Barber over Chase Edmonds. I'm starting him over Mike Davis. I'm starting him over. I think I stop at CEH. I think I stop at the CEH. Miles Sanders.
Yeah.
And
then Derek Carr.
Depends on your quarterback situation. Like, you may have taken Carr as like your backup, depending on the situation. So like you may have a better starting quarterback, but you could get away with Carr. He's a top 15 play this week, I think, for sure. I start Carr over Tannehill.
Huh?
I start Carr over Darnold. And I
Mhm.
probably start Carr over Cousins.
Yeah, probably.
How about yourself?
I'd probably agree with you. I think those 3 you start them over. But other
Okay.
than that, you put them on the bench.
What You're starting Waller.
Uh-huh.
What about the receivers for the Raiders?
None.
Okay. Not a one.
Uh, yeah, none. I mean,
I
I'm
can
not
only
a
think
big
of
fan.
one person.
I'm not a big fan. Who's the person you're thinking of?
Renfro.
Yeah, I could see. I mean, if you have to start one, it would be him. But I think other than that,
I mean, he leads. He's behind Waller in targets. Waller has 33. Renfro has 22. He has 204 receiving yards. He's fourth in the team in receiving. And he has a touchdown. Ruggs has the most yards, but he's the speedster.
yeah, I mean, he's taking the big.
But okay. Okay. But like that's just me. Like I would start Renfro over I probably start Renfro over Kenny Galladay. I start Renfro
Yeah,
over maybe Michael Pittman's a tough one. But I would probably start him over Pittman because it just depends on what Wentz shows up and if Wentz gets hurt.
it also
Um,
depends. Yeah, I would start him over Pittman just because the Dolphins and one situation. But other than that, I think you go with your wide receiver.
do you start Renfro over Robbie Anderson?
Uh, I think Renfro gets you at least 10 points this week.
Okay.
Robbie Anderson, I'm not positive about getting you 10 points this week. So
Okay.
for safeness, yes. But if you want to go for, if you're trying to get like, I don't know, uh, for a big game, I think if any of them you're gonna have a big game, it's gonna be Robbie Anderson. I don't
Okay.
think.
Do you start Renfro over Allen Robinson?
Yes. Well,
Depends
depends
on
on
the
the
quarterback.
quarterback.
Okay.
Quarterback,
If it's
yeah.
Justin Fields, you start Renfro.
Yeah, if
Okay.
it's Justin Fields, you start Renfro. If it's Andy, you start
Hunter
Rob.
Renfro or Manuel Sanders and Cole Beasley.
I'm taking the Bills. I mean,
Okay. You're
the
just going
Bills
with
game
the.
is the only game I'm very certain on a win.
Okay.
Besides, like that's the only matchup I feel is gonna be an absolute blowout. Maybe besides, maybe besides the Packers.
Okay.
Other
All right.
than that, I am 100% on taking any Bills player this week.
All right.
All right.
All right. So that's about it. That is the week 4 preview of the NFL. So Connor, I do want to. I have to ask your opinion. You being a younger of the younger generation, I want to start a segment like so for like the weekend reviews.
Yeah.
Like do like either like fact or cap or like cap no cap. So like if a player does really well, like breaks out, like do you think it's like cap, like
Like,
it's not gonna he can't keep it up or like no cap, like no, like this is it, he's gonna stay here. Like what do you think of that
yeah, you
kind of
could do
thing?
that.
Right? It's kind of
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
kind of cool little
yeah,
like
yeah.
segment thing. You just kind of go through, be like, oh, I don't friggin' know. Brandon Ayuk has like 10 catches for 150 yards,
Yeah,
like cap or no cap. And you're like, no, I think that's it. I'll go no cap. He's good the rest of the season. Or if you're
yeah.
like,
I mean,
no, it's, kind of thing.
yeah, maybe not. I don't know what you. Maybe not like try and do it like your own. Like maybe like I don't know, not start set or like
That's why,
keep or sleep.
yeah, that's why I was trying to think of like the cap or no cap because I don't know of
Yeah,
any other fantasy football podcasts or talk shows that do like cap or no cap.
yeah,
They do you know like hot or not or like whatever the case may be, but I don't know. And then for waiver wires, I'm still working on it. It's a thought.
yeah,
But for the waiver wire episode, I was gonna go like like cop or drop? Like, do you want to like pick them up, or are you gonna drop them? Be like, no, 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 we're dropping them, kind of like
Yeah,
thing.
that's a good one.
But yeah, so that's kind of what I was thinking. I don't
Yeah,
know. It's still a work in progress, but this way we have like a segment that is kind of like, all right, these are the guys that perform well. What do you think? They
100%.
exceeded their expectation, kind of thing. Like Brandon, are you supposed to get 15 points or say 12, but he ends up getting like 30? Like, okay,
Yeah,
do you think he can still not keep pace with 30 points a week, but he'll go over his average of 12 to 13 points rest of season, kind of thing. So, um, but yeah, but I appreciate you coming out and
no problem.
us both being a little nasally and congested and powering through it for a little bit.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
and then for anybody else that's interested, I am going to ponder on my picks for this week. I'm going to ponder on them tomorrow, and I'll throw my picks up on Twitter with point spreads, my favorite. And if I want to take any over unders this week, I will put those out on Twitter and Instagram. And Twitter, I will put it's sports underscore euphoria on Twitter and Instagram, and YouTube is just sports euphoria. Twitch is just sports euphoria. And then Connor, if you want, you can feel free to share what your whichever Twitter handler you would want to put out there or whatever
My
the case may be.
Twitter handle is it's Thorn, ITSTHORNN, and then same with my Twitch. It's the same thing.
Okay, perfect. So this way, if you want to see if Connor's joining me, whatever the case may be, stay up to date with what it is he's doing. That's how. And then, like I said, myself is Sports Euphoria, sports underscore Euphoria. But that's it. So, guys, I appreciate it. Connor, thank you again for coming on and sharing your knowledge with anybody that may be listening to this.
No problem.
I and they are very appreciative of it. And guys, with that being said, have a good one and let's win. Later.
Yes, sir.